What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XMR Monero today at the request of Smooth Operator. Smooth, we're talking about this one for you, my friend. Let's see. Looking at it here. Let's see. We're up about 6% this week. Already up a little bit, like 2% today. Nice. It is looking rather bullish right now. You're in this grand phase of accumulation, right? Just this big old box, this zone down here. You've been flirting with the bottom side of it. Now you're having the positive repercussions of interacting with that lower area. Looking like you want to go to the upper area. This could be the time. Of all these times, this could be the time that you break out. And when you do break out, I'm assuming it would look phenomenal, right? We could compare this, and I know it might be cliche because I feel like a lot of people who are in Bitcoin Cash like Monero. Maybe not a lot of people, but I would assume if you like peer-to-peer money that's not censorable and it's private, XMR makes sense to kind of like. But if you look at XMR for what it is, grand accumulation phase, and we compare it to Bitcoin Cash, right? Grand accumulation phase, when it came time to break out of it finally, it was a phenomenal move. Now, you might not see the exact same thing in XMR, but that's just kind of an idea. Trying to think of anything else that might be a good idea. I don't know. I'm just going to go back to XMR. I would think that we see a sizable move up, is all I'm trying to say. From the cycle high to the cycle low, you know, our resting resistance area is at about 184. That is the 382. When we break above that, the next target area would be your 618. So it's very possible that when you do break this accumulation zone down here, that you do just make a straight run for about $273 to $308. You're at 151 right now, you guys. XMR looks very bullish where it's at. Overall, you know, for what this range is worth, from the low to a high point, you are above the halfway point, so it's not at the best. I guess for this whole range, there have been better areas to buy, but you're still in the range, so I think it's totally fine. If you look at the weekly RSI, it is rather neutral, very much neutral. You reject the oversold zone, you reject the overbought zone, you don't even touch the oversold zone, you reject the overbought zone, like it's just, you can't seem to make up your mind as to which one you want to go into, but it does look like you're postured bullishly right now. The daily is very strong, very, very strong, as is the chart in itself, but let's talk about the long term now. Let's move on from there. What happens to XMR when it sees new all-time highs? Looking at the monthly, nice little bounce off the 40, right? You've done this before a couple times, right? You know, I mean, just a rough idea, I suppose. The last time that you bounce off the 40 area like this, you saw a pretty massive dip, right? Right before you moved up. From that low point, that's the COVID crash though, so maybe we won't take the low, we'll take the closing low. To a high point, you move up 973%. You know, if you were to move up 973% here, that takes you up above $1,000. I think personally last cycle was weak, not just for Monero, and obviously for Monero there were plenty of coins that saw new all-time highs where this was more of a double top. It actually, there were multiple coins that like grew well past their previous all-time highs. I think last cycle was weak for Monero. Therefore, I would assume that this cycle sees a stronger overall growth. That's just my conclusions that I'm drawing in my head. If we take this relative high here from not last cycle, but the cycle before, the 2017 cycle, to the low, the COVID-19 low, maybe I'll take this, because again, I'm not going to count that. We'll take this. Look, you're showing respect right on the 382. Yeah, I'm going to take this. The minimum target's at $935. Your maximum target would be at $2,250. Let's see, what would Monero do with a market cap, or with a price that high? What would the market cap be? All right, 2.75 billion right now. Let's call it 2.751. Let's go to the Google. Wow, that is bright. Google calculator burning everybody's retinas. I'm waking up whoever's sleeping next to you with that light, man. And if you've got no one sleeping next to you, I'm waking up your neighbors. What was I going to do? Right. 2.751. So these are in the terms of billions. 2.751, 2.751. That's billion, right? I know it says 2.751, but pretend it's $1 billion times 2,000. I'm sorry, that's not what we'd be doing. We'd be doing this. Come on now. Times 15, essentially. Am I at the right price? Yes. Times 14.7. Give you a $40 billion market cap. So is Monero deserving of a $40 billion market cap this cycle? I think so. Absolutely, I think so. So yeah, prices, I know that was one of your questions there, Smooth, was how high do you think I could see this thing going? Yeah, I could see it breaking 2K. It could even break 40K, man. That's at $40 billion at 2250. You could absolutely break 5K, bro. You could go higher. Perhaps you do go all the way up to 11.8K. Perhaps this is the cycle that puts Monero on the map and makes all the non-believers like, I'm not saying I believe in this. I don't think this is going to happen. But that kind of growth, let's see, that's a 77x. 2751 times, let's even do 78x. It's 214 billion. I mean, that's a pretty high market cap. That's a lot of growth in one cycle, but for a coin that's been around since 2014, for a privacy coin, the first privacy coin in crypto, it's a niche. It's kind of got a niche space, and it's the top dog of privacy coins, right? It's available on Kraken. It's not available on every exchange, but it is available on Kraken, so Americans can even gain access to it too, right? It really could see a $214 billion market cap, man. It's been around longer than most cryptos. It's proven to be reliable and usable and sustainable and not flawed. I say sustainable. I don't know about the energy output. I don't know the inner workings as far as like the sustainability of it goes. I just mean that it's a viable project that's not going to rug pull on you, right? It's proven, it's done something that most cryptos can't do, which is that it's stood the test of time. It did technically get higher high after each cycle, but we'll call that a double top. While it didn't grow as not good as that is, it did not falter on this bear cycle. It actually just continued to accumulate at higher prices. This is an overall accumulation range, man. This is a very long phase of consolidation. When it pops, it's going to be glorious. So while the more, let's call them acceptable targets, are between $1,000 to $2,800, while those are the more acceptable targets, I don't know why. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Let's take this low. We'll be conservative. 935 to 2,250. While those are more acceptable, the crazy, outrageous 12K price is completely possible by the end of this cycle. Absolutely, it is. It's worth $151 now. I would not bet on this number happening, but I wouldn't bet somebody that it's not going to happen. I would confidently bet that we could see $2,250 price. I'd very confidently bet that we break 1K, but I think 2,250 is a nice target area, even 4,000, somewhere up here for Monero. But time will tell. The main reason I'm looking at that, whenever I normally identify the whole range here, the 1618, the 1272, this is the expected area, but the main reason I'm kind of expecting this zone instead of the expected area is because we've been consolidating for a long time. I don't believe that when we break this, we're going to stop here. To me, that just doesn't look right? We consolidated for multiple cycles, and that's the move we get. It's phenomenal. It's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure anybody would love it. You're not going to get upset if you're making gains from $151 to about $1,000. Nobody would be upset with that. But it just seems lackluster. It seems a bit like last cycle, doesn't it? Right? Even less bullish than last cycle, and last cycle was the definition of lackluster. We're going to do that this cycle after consolidating, after having a very overall bullish bear cycle, right? You didn't move down for a long time. You consolidated for a long time. You got a lot of volume down here at the area where you're about to move up. I just don't think you're going to stop at 1,000. I feel a lot more confident saying 2,000 to 4,000. Let's even say 2,200 to 5K is where I think you're going to go. But I'm rambling at this point. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to add that's like productive other than you're boring right now. I mean, I guess right now you're being kind of exciting, moving up a little bit day by day. That's always nice when you get these. It's exciting when you get these huge moves to the upside, right? But whenever it's like day by day, you're just slowly moving up. That's awesome too, man. A week goes by, and you're like, wow, it's actually doing pretty decent. Like that's consistent growth like this is nice to see. I do think you're near the top of this. You might see a little bit of a move down soon, but it's not going to be by much. You're at 151. Don't be sad if you go back to 140. You are very bullish in your RSI right now too, so don't be surprised if you do just make a quick move all the way up to about 180, 170, somewhere in that range. But inevitably, when you break above, I would say probably not even that high, this high here. When you break above 175 on a weekly basis, that would be my assumption that you're about to see this breakout move that would take you all the way up to about like $300. What was it, 275, 300? What was it? It was 273 to 310, yeah. And that's the next target area. That right there is the next target area. Based off this, I suppose the actual line would be 184 that you want to break. But 175, 184, you break that zone, it's on to the 618 area. As far as when that happens, I don't know. It could happen in a short amount of time. It could happen in a long amount of time. I don't know. I would assume because you've been accumulating for a while that when you do break out, it'll happen very fast. But time will tell. That's all I got. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.